I'm not particularly on any side. Like obviously, a lot of people are siding with Johnny Depp. I'm not taking that position necessarily, and not because I don't like think he has a ton of valid reasons or anything like that. I just don't want to jump into anybody's like, you know what I mean, kind
Yeah.
of like thing. So I don't want to be like, oh yeah, get Amber out of here, whatever, whatever, whatever. But I do just want to talk about it because I think that it's raising a lot of really, really important questions, and I think at least highlighting some of the issues maybe more from a male's perspective that we usually don't get in terms of like domestic abuse cases or
Yeah.
anything like that. So I think that this case is highlighting a lot of things. Like it's a shame that your personal relationship has to be put on
I
blast.
know. And
Like,
like text messages. Imagine all your
yeah,
messages you ever wrote, just the whole world got to hear.
yeah. And for those of you that did not have not watched it, and it's not entertaining because obviously this is people's real lives and things that are traumatic and a lot of drug abuse and just domestic abuse in general was being discussed in the case. But like I watched a lot of it outside of you. I don't know if you happen to see the clips, but I watched a lot of like the lawyer because they were highlighting how the defense.
I'd be sitting here all day working from home bored. So there's a guy on YouTube who streams everything. Like I found him during the whole Brian Laundrie Gabby Petito case. That guy I found. So he like live streams everything. So I just been listening in. And his live streams have been like 8 hour long
Hmm.
because like they take lunch breaks. So it's like a lot of breaks, but these trials are like all day. I think during the
Mm,
like the work week.
yeah, once you,
So like I watched like maybe two of them, and like one was 7 hours, one was 8 hours. I didn't watch all the way through those a lot, but I got like the gist of a lot of it.
yeah, I didn't watch it to that extent, but there were people that were like chopping up the important clips, really highlighting
Yeah,
the defense
and a lot of
lawyer.
the important clips was what I was watching anyway.
Yeah.
So yeah,
But yeah, I think it's highlighting a lot of stories that don't get told from the male perspective, and not that Johnny Depp wasn't wrong for certain things, because I'm sure that there were some things that he was doing that weren't exactly like,
like because based off what we're hearing from the defense lawyers and like the questionings and their evidence is that it was a lot of like drugs on his side. Like he was alcoholic, drug
mm,
addict, and that type of stuff makes you wild out and like go crazy. Like you might not necessarily be abusing somebody physically, but mentally dealing with that is probably a lot. That doesn't excuse her what she did, but it's like he seemed like he was a lot, and it was almost like it almost makes me, I hate to like I'm not even victim blaming, but it almost makes me feel like if you're that addicted to drugs and alcohol, then you can't be in a relationship. So he should have never gotten a relationship in the first place, honestly, because I feel like if you're like addicted to stuff, like relationships don't help when you're going through other things. That shouldn't be like the least of your priorities, you know.
sometimes.
But then some people will be like, oh, but so people who are addicts are not allowed to have relationships like just because they're struggling. It's like, no, I'm not saying that. It's like, but you're not your best you. And if you're not your best you, your relationships are gonna reflect that.
I agree. I think that relationship could really help in those situations, or it can make it a lot worse. And this is just
And
like
yeah, and
the
that's where
situation
her flaws comes in. Because if he had like a really good partner
could have helped him
that really would help him through it, which it seemed like she did help him through it in the beginning, but a lot of people's perspective is that she's been plotting since the beginning also.
for the money.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
that maybe she saw the weakness of him being a drug addict and alcoholic to try to like exploit that for her benefit.
You know what's crazy? There's so many instances of that. Like, I remember I was watching back. There's a guy on YouTube. His name's Joseph Vincent. So shout out to Joseph Vincent. I mean, he has over 1 million subs, so he doesn't need my shout out. But he does really good sports like documentaries, just on his own, like sort of independent documentaries, and they're really well put together. Um, and I've watched it a couple of times because I'm a big fan of sports, and I think sports tell stories about life and life lessons and things like that. So I try to learn from other people's mistakes, and
Yeah.
sometimes that's through sports. In the Mike Tyson documentary, um, the I don't know if you're familiar with the story, but Mike Tyson was accused of sexual assault, which was it was a lie. But the woman at the time, I don't know if this was her specific audio, but basically she had the perspective of, oh, all Mike, because Mike Tyson is like synonymous with being sued from all over the place,
Yeah.
like hundreds of millions of dollars in his lifetime
That's
he's paid
crazy.
out in lawsuits. So the woman like preyed on him after he had a divorce from his wife that also stole money from him, plotted on him, stole his money, and she was like, "Oh, all these people, he's sending out all this money with lawsuits, blah blah blah. I might as well get me some." So she lied. You know, it's Mike Tyson.
That's sad.
He's black, of course.
Yeah.
He wasn't going to get the benefit of the doubt for anything. So he went to jail for a couple of years.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and
People are evil.
she got the money. But it's just another one of those situations. But I feel like these things, like obviously Johnny isn't without his own personal demons and sins, but it is highlighting how women abuse men because that's a common thing. And I think that men
They don't see it as abuse.
women don't. Yeah, men need to know when they're being abused as well.
Yeah. Because as a man, you don't like. How do you sound?
Tough.
Yeah.
You're supposed to be tough. Like, how you gonna let this 5'2"? I don't know how tall Amber is, but
Yeah.
how you gonna let some 5'2" girl bully you? Essentially, is the way it's looked at. But it's like, nah, like that's possible.
It's crazy too, because you know that the second you hit her back, you might hurt her really bad.
You're
like, and they hurt you too. As the woman could really hurt you too, and kill. And the case is kill. But it's like they use that to their advantage, knowing that you're that much bigger and stronger. That all it might take is you being like a shake. You might shake them so violently that like something breaks, like their neck or something.
I really feel bad for asking this on camera, but what's your opinion on that for like male self-defense? Now let me finish for a second. I'm of the perspective that as a man, and it's a shame because it's just double standards, but we live in a double standard society. But I think in most instances, if a woman is physically assaulting you, you can kind of
like hold them.
Like, not even that. Like, you just don't even have to be physically anything with them. You can, in most instances, get away from that. Like, you should be fine.
Unless they're throwing things. And that's what that was her case. She was throwing a lot of things at him, like throwing like bottles or something, some item that they use like for painting, something like glass. Like she was throwing actual things like a candle or something like that. And that's the type of stuff that was like messing him up. And then cutting his finger, and she had a knife.
Yeah.
Cut his finger off. Like, it's crazy.
That's why I wanted to ask you, at what point do you think, and this is your own opinion, you're not speaking for all women, we're not generalizing, but in your opinion, at what point do you feel like a man is, it's okay for a man to physically respond to physical assault? Like, how far does it have to go?
I mean, I'm always, if some, like, just keep your hands to yourself. If someone touches you, then the first hit is, for me, is on site.
You know what's crazy about that, though?
Depending on what you do, though. But no, I feel like, if you know, if I'm a girl, well, I am a girl, but if we're fighting, right? And
you're a woman.
Whatever. And I'm like this, right?
Don't put your hands on me.
Then you could be like that back. You throw a bottle at you, I'm throwing a bottle back. But that's in a perfect world. In this world that we live in, unfortunately, since the man is stronger, for the most part, even throwing something, it's like, oh, but there was more force behind the throw because you're stronger.
That's the thing. And that's why, like, that's where my opinion is. Because, like, if you threw a bottle at me, I'm taking a bottle and I'm pegging you with the bottle. Like, I'm throwing a 90-mile-per-hour fastball just because that's crazy. Like,
yeah.
But that's why I wanted to ask you. And I know people are going to interpret that the way they want to interpret it. But that's what I'm saying. That's why I don't do it. That's what, well, you don't abuse me. But I wouldn't do it in those situations because there's no way to. Because once you get to that point, in my opinion, there's no coming back.
It's
like, there's no.
After his finger was chopped off, I'm surprised the divorce didn't happen there. Like, you chopped the tip of my finger off.
It's like
that's psycho, literally.
Even if a girl hits you, I just personally can't imagine raising my hand to a woman, like, and hitting her back. Cause I know, maybe it's cause I just know me personally. And I know that, like, you've seen the one instance where the switch gets hit. Mm-hmm. And I'm afraid of that cause.
I think that happens to a lot of men. I think a lot of men who have killed their partners was that switch.
Yeah.
Like Brian Laundrie. I feel like that was that switch.
Sorry, we're having a sensitive conversation, so I have to clarify. The switch was not hit against her. It was another male. She just happened to be in the situation. A male was. I'm talking about that party thing that happened.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So I wanted to clarify because I said the switch was hit, and then
no, that was to
clarify for all y'all out there.
Party.
It was a party. There was a guy harassing Malika as well as her friends, and then he put his hands on me. Ex-friends, yeah. And because of that, a switch got hit because he put his hands on me then, and then it was game over, and then he went to sleep shortly after.
Yeah, that was funny. I mean, in the moment, it was scary, especially because after that it was like, yeah, it's a long story. We can't even get into
I don't
it.
even want to tell that story because
And then the police.
Yeah, no, it's all right.
That felt like we was in GTA, but we got out.
Yeah, it's all right.
That could have turned out really bad too if he had like a weapon in the house. I always think about that stuff,
Whatever.
but thank God it didn't. This is why, to go off topic, this is why you ever notice like they always say when you surround yourself by certain people, it always seems like bad stuff
Negative
happening.
energy.
How come ever since they've been dropped, no crazy incidents happen? Haven't been in uncomfortable situations where I felt like my life was at stake. They put me in bad scenarios and they want to act like they was good friends.
Anyway,
Good friends don't put you in bad scenarios. But that wasn't really their fault. But it's just the association of what happened when you're around those people in their circle and who they brought us around. Like that was her people. I don't know. I don't know where we was at. I don't know who those people was.
yeah.
But yeah.
But to bring it back specifically to the Johnny
You know
Depp
me,
situation,
I like to get on my rants.
I would just be too afraid. Like, even if a woman did something wild, like even if you threw like one of these big ass speakers at me, like I would be afraid of my reaction. That's why I tend to
The
try
finger
not to
thing,
react.
like that, you know how you could have snapped so easily after you cut your finger. Like you imagine looking down, and you'd be like, "What the like?" I mean, you might be so much in pain that you don't even react. But
And those that scares me because right, like my instincts I feel like would kick in and I would probably be going to jail. I'm not saying what I would do, but I don't feel like I would react to deadly weapons.
yeah, and that's just being a
me.
human. That's just being a human. I hate that it's such a male versus female thing. Like I hate that we have this stigma around that because it's like, imagine that's your son being abused. You would have that same energy.
Yeah.
And that's usually what happens. Anytime people on the timeline see stuff and they see like a man being like getting abused, that's what people's response. Like, imagine this is your son. Like, you know, if that's your son, you're going to tell him to hit her back.
Not just that.
Keep your hands to yourself. You don't need to touch people at all. You don't need to hit your kids. You don't need to hit people at all. Literally, there's really no reason to hit somebody unless they hit you and attack you. But I'm saying, like, for discipline, no reason. Arguing with your partner. How do you even get to the point where you're hitting each other? Just talk. Even if you have to scream on the top of your lungs and just argue, what point do you get to be able to hit somebody? That is just so like.
That's what I'm saying.
Psychotic.
That's what I'm saying. Like, to get to that point is crazy to me. But to what you were just saying about social media is like, they're like, oh, that could be your son. It's like, no, that is a common story. Like, it's very common. We've seen instances in college where it got crazy.
There was glass in my bed when I was moving out.
Crazy.
I had crazy ex-friends. Anybody listening? I don't know. My life has been so at peace since I got my like 2 friends. I'm chilling. Glass in my dorm. There was a lot. Yeah, we witnessed some stuff in school. He just got surgery and he had to go. She like broke something and he had to go back to get the surgery redone. His mom was pissed.
Like, yeah, like there's
crazy.
A lot
She
of
was
real
crazy. Oh God.
I'm trying to stay away from like, the specific examples talking about some of the specific people, but yeah, like there's a lot of abuse like that men go through, even just lightweight, what's considered lightweight stuff that you would not necessarily think. But a woman should never put her hands on you
at all.
Like she shouldn't spit on you. She shouldn't really do anything. Like
I don't care what you did. You could have cheated on me with a million girls, got somebody pregnant. I would never. Like, for what? Because that's really what people argue about if you think about it. As far as like putting your hands on somebody, the only reason you ever get to that point is usually infidelity, stuff like that.
And that's why that like, it's not really a joke, but it's serious. It's like people on the timeline, they'll be like, women will do everything except just walk away. Yeah. Like they'll key your car. And this is not like a women.
Puncture the tires.
Men
will do that too.
Podcast. Women, wait, I confused myself. Men do the same thing.
Yeah.
Just walk away. Like
it's so easy.
It's
There's
okay.
so many people in this world. I know people have they are so fixated onto one person that they're with, especially if there's memories and stuff involved. It's like, I get that. But it's like,
if somebody pull out a knife on me, sorry.
Like, I can't even imagine not being at peace at life like that. Like, I can't imagine arguing and just being mad all the time. Physical fights. Like, I can't imagine. Like, I just wouldn't want that.
Nothing's ever that deep.
It's never that deep.
Like, people be like, they abuse people as if they like killed their dog or something. Like, killed a family member. It's like, yo, I don't get it. But just in general, this case is
it's still ongoing.
Yeah, it's still ongoing. It's interesting. I'm sure more information will come out from either side. And like I said, not picking any specific side because I don't think that that's what this case is important to highlight. I just think showing both sides of a relationship, because we usually get the men that come out as the abusers. We usually get men that are, oh, you're the worst person in the world because you cheated on this person, but it's
Yeah.
like, wait, you don't know, she might have pulled a knife on him, like you
And
really
that's
don't
what
know.
the stories are coming out. There was stories about like there was video evidence of her in the elevator with James Franco, and like apparently he was saying like she would bring guys up in there, and like that's his penthouse, like and multiple men was up there like that was up there, like cheating, and like it's just funny because when the magazine came out, like with her article, everybody sided with him. That's when he immediately got dropped. Like Disney, Disney don't play that. Like look at all the stuff that happened to him, and we saw her as a victim, and now we're finding out stuff like that. Like obviously that's not cheating is not an excuse for getting physical with somebody, but we're finding out a lot of the backstory about who she is and like how it seemed like she'd been plotting this whole time. Like she was recording stuff. That's why he started recording stuff back because she was doing it first. The recording stuff is so weird. Like, what are you recording a fight for? An argument? Like that's just
You know
so
why?
weird.
And what's even crazy?
Yeah, she was plotting because he was throwing glass around. Like I don't know if you saw one video. And she was recording him. He saw that she recorded, and she didn't touch him. She was laughing. Picked up her phone and threw it. If you were so scared of him, you would have been like, she wasn't doing any of that. He picked the phone up and threw the phone. He didn't touch her. And he saw that she was recording. And that's the day his mom died, or the day after. Like, you're really going to record somebody at a vulnerable moment when their emotions are on a roller coaster. Like, you're just finding out all the stuff about her. I'm like, she was crazy. And it's like, if you know that you're dating somebody who's like a little unstable, like, why are you going to fight them and try to record
Provoke them.
and provoke them? Yeah.
For the money. Because, it's really crazy. Because, like, that's something that men don't do. Because women don't typically have more money than the men.
Yeah.
So
she pooped in his bed, too. You saw that?
Yeah, I saw that. And blamed it on the dogs.
Yeah. It was like, the dog was a 4-pound, like, teacup Yorkie or something. They're like, that dog did not big poop on the bed.
Yeah.
She's like, come on. There's nobody sane is doing that. Nobody sane is pooping on a bed intentionally. Nobody sane is doing that. So that's how you know something's off with her.
And and this is not to do any mental illness shaming, but sometimes you gotta shame mental illness. But there's so many instances of women doing real psycho stuff like that.
Literally.
Like you even saw like the Bad Girls Club, like that thing with the Claremont twins, like that. Like women do real crazy shit.
Psycho, like destroying all their stuff like that.
Women do real crazy shit.
For
like,
what? They didn't even do nothing to you, like touch your stuff or touch you. Like you're gonna throw it, like psychos. And a lot of people are mentally ill. Like I think everybody on this earth has some type of mental illness or slightly mentally off. We all have something that we deal with, whether it's more severe or less. I think everybody deals with something, but some people really deal with it and never go and walk around this planet undiagnosed, and don't even have any sense of like sense of self. Like maybe I should not do this. Maybe this is crazy. Maybe I should go get these anger problems addressed. Maybe I'm like narcissist. Like maybe I'm evil. Like maybe I should go. I don't know. I think everybody has problems, but some people have them a lot worse.
One thing, I don't have Twitter anymore, of course, but another thing is like I've really tried to tend to not look at comments anymore, because like. But like when I did have Twitter, you could see that there's a lot of people like that. Like there's a lot of people out there that share like a common mindset about things, like that whole money and plot on him and I'm gonna get this and I'm gonna get that. Like that's like a common thing, whether you have a lot of money or not. Like I don't make a ton of money. I would be 100% sure that somebody in some other situations would be plotting on my money.
Yeah, and people would be. Like a lot of people, like girls in general, like I said, even low level, like girls are out here making 20,000, 30,000 a year. I'm sure they're plotting on people who are making 80 to 100. Mm-hmm. Like, and that might not be a lot to a lot of people because like 80 to 100 still is like, I think in our perspective, that's low. That's entry, like, kind of like mid entry level. But for somebody else who's making 30, 20, they're looking at that person like oh, he could buy, he could pay probably my phone bill, or he could buy me some nice things here and there more often than I could even buy myself. So. Like you said, yeah, they're both were actors, but that's Johnny Depp. Amber Heard is not on Johnny Depp level.
Not nowhere close.
Never even heard of her like before this.
That's a fact.
So she definitely was plotting, and look, she left $7 million. That's what this is. This is a
defamation
suing. Like he's trying to get that money back too, low key, because it's like they had her settlement already where he gave her $7 million.
But he's probably coming for more than the 7. He's probably coming.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be more. Yeah,
he's coming for the loss of whatever.
Yeah,
advertising.
because he lost a lot. Like they cut him from like Pirates of the Caribbean stuff. I heard like I think they
I
said
remember that.
did they cut him out the movie? They said
They
'cause he's the main character.
yeah, they're not going to do any more ever, and he just
And
came
then I
out.
heard they removed him from like the roller coaster or something, like from rides. I don't know. I heard
I'm,
you been since. Did you see?
no,
Oh, you haven't went to past.
I haven't been since this happened.
Well, no, but this happened. This like where all the main stuff happened, where he lost that happened in like 2017.
No, I haven't been there since.
Oh, okay,
Last time I went to Disney was 2013 or 14.
so you haven't been able to even tell if his stuff was
No,
removed.
yeah,
But
I
yeah,
haven't seen it.
and there was obviously future movies that were created and are still being created that he's not a part of, and he'll never be a part of. Because he said like he'll never.
Do it again. That's what I was about to
'cause
say.
that's the principle. Like, come on, you cut me without proof, and I get like that's what Disney got to do. Like at the end of the day, they're protecting their business, and I get, but at the same time, it's like all the money I put in your pocket and I work for you this long, you're gonna turn your back with no like hearing my side of the story.
But this is why we were having that Grammys conversation where we're
Yeah.
giving these companies so much power and like status. It's like, nah, like
And you heard what Pusha T said. They called Kanye back,
yeah.
trying to get him to perform. It's like, nah, are you stupid?
Like what are we talking
Are you
about here?
dumb?
Like that's where the big headedness of companies come from, where they think that they don't need people.
Yeah,
Like companies think that they don't need their employees. They think that they don't need like production companies feel like they don't need actors. They
Yeah.
feel like they can be successful, and they don't really pay attention to the importance of the people.
yeah.
Like-
And I get they're protecting their brand, but it's like, come on, like you're gonna prioritize, like. I don't know, cause like I mean, if Johnny Depp really was really guilty of all the things that she said, I get why you want to cut him. I get that.
Right.
But it's like we didn't even get his side at that point.
Exactly. You should take a neutral position. Like I
Yeah.
don't care what your company is, because I don't know if you've seen, and maybe one of these days we'll really get into how nasty Disney is in itself. There was something where like I believe it's the teaching of. I kind of want to look this up because I don't want to botch this, but I think there was some recent thing in Florida where they didn't want to teach the kids the LGBTQ.
Yeah, like them doing their gender identities.
Yeah, the LGBTQ laws.
Yeah.
So like Disney initially was like, yeah, they were on the side of the Florida legislation. Like, yeah, we don't agree that these laws should be passed or something
Yeah.
to that effect.
But all of a sudden,
Then they got the backlash immediately, of course. And then they flipped their position, and now they just lost legislation that's been in place for, I don't even know how many years, maybe
wow.
50 years, that allowed them to be their own self-governing, like they're basically their own government in Florida,
Yeah.
which is crazy. But now that's gone because they just opposed Florida's thing. But it's like they took the stance, and then now they didn't take the stance once, like
They sway to
it's-
whatever's popular.
yeah, whatever is gonna make them more money, which is crazy.
Yeah, just stand on what you stand on.
Yeah,
I feel
Disney,
like that's the thing with every company. Like,
Disney's
every
nasty.
company likes to sway along with like liberal views because that's usually a more popular view. So crazy.
well, it's not the more popular view. It's the view that typically makes the most money. Like the
Well, yeah.
liberals typically make more money than Republicans.
Yeah.
And that's what they care about, is the profit, which is not like wrong, but
Which is
these
messed up.
situations,
Yeah.
it's just gonna highlight how dumb y'all look. But
Yeah, and that's the thing. They could have, like you said, they could have been neutral. Like with the Travis Scott
Like, nobody
situation,
asked.
like with Astroworld, you saw like Nike didn't cancel their collab; they just put it on halt. Fortnite was ready to cancel everything and throw stuff out. I was like, wow, like you'd even like why? That's the funny thing, because you know the flips is gonna happen again. Like this song that just came out with him, everybody loves it. So the flip's gonna happen. Everybody's gonna figure all about Astroworld. Like people are still gonna know what happened, obviously, and acknowledge it. And it was still a very obviously sad situation. But it's like the flip's gonna happen. Where everybody's gonna love Travis again. And Fortnite's gonna feel stupid.
it's that cancel culture.
It's just weird. Like piss off on halt. Like Nike
Or don't.
paused. Yeah, or don't. Just let it keep going. Like this is so weird.
they acting like Travis had and no disrespect, and I really don't want to be disrespectful
know.
because people lost their lives, but they be acting like Travis had a gun up on the stage,
Yeah, and he did that.
shooting people.
And like it's just the crazy thing, because like I don't understand how people like Travis has had so many concerts. Why do you think this one was so different that he would have intentionally killed people? Like it's just so stupid that people like, and these companies don't think about that stuff either. They just see whatever's hype. If it wasn't a major outrage towards Travis, nothing would have happened. Nothing would have changed. If all the outrage went to the Live Nation or whatever. And the crazy thing is, Live Nation is going to leave out as untouched. I'm sure they didn't get hit with nothing. Like
Well,
I mean, no, but lawsuits. I'm talking about like cancellations and stuff.
Oh, people not going to Live Nation concerts and
Yeah,
stuff.
because it's like Travis Scott is her image, so he gets that direct hit. But it's like, oh, these big companies like Universal or like Live Nation or who else was involved. They said, I forgot.
Universal, Live Nation, Apple, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, because
because
they had
Apple
Apple.
was a live stream.
Nobody's gonna stop buying iPhones. No one's
Yeah.
gonna stop going to Live Nation concerts, some Live Nation sponsored concerts, because nobody does that much research. But they're gonna stop buying Travis Scott clothes and stop buying the shoes, selling the shoes, not going to his concert. And it's like that's crazy because how come no one else who's responsible getting heat? So
Yeah.
it's just messed up.
Yeah. So
But yeah, that's how I feel about like the Johnny Depp situation. Like the money is gonna be crazy if he wins, and he's the one suing. That's the
Yeah, it
crazy
should
part.
be.
The only reason this case is open is because of him. He's the one suing. So
good for him. Hopefully he gets what's deserved. And like I said, I'm not trying to take a specific position, but my position is always going to be on what's right or what's wrong.
yeah,
So if Amber ends up being the wrong party, then hopefully he gets what he deserves. And if he ends up being the wrong party, then hopefully nothing happens. But that's where I always side. I'm not picking a side. I'm just picking the truth and
Yeah.
what's right and what's wrong.
yep. And at the end of the day, who cares? Like if he's saying crazy stuff, text messages, did he actually do it? That's the thing. And the jury didn't have to think about that. It's like, okay, yeah, he might have said all this crazy stuff because there was something about how he wanted to like. He said he wanted to like kill her and burn her body and then have sex with the dead corpse, of her. And it's like, did he do it though?
Sorry, y'all, we had a little bit of a technical issue there. We're back. For those of you that are listening, it should be fine. But those of you
Yeah.
that are watching, sorry, we had a little technical glitch. But go ahead.
Yeah, I was saying like, there was those text messages where he was like texting his friend saying that like he wanted to like kill her and burn her body and then like have sex with the burnt corpse. So it's like when the jury's hearing that, they're probably like, oh my God, like he's probably so violent and crazy. But it's like we all say crazy things like that. And it's like the bottom line is, did he do it though? Like Amber actually physically abused him, like hit him, throw stuff. His finger was off. Like there's like proof, concrete proof. Like you could see his finger wrapped in the movie. They had to use CGI. Like, do you know that? In one of the Pirates of the Caribbean movie. Oh my God, I can't talk. One of the Pirates of the Caribbean. How do you say it? Caribbean.
Whichever one.
In one of the movies, they said that his finger was actually wrapped during the movie, and they used CGI to replace the finger. That's crazy.
That is crazy.
Like if you really think about it.
So his finger is like still messed up. I would assume it is.
I would assume probably there's definitely some stitching or something that you see.
Crazy.
Yeah. So it was like you had to compare that to him, the messages. It's like people say crazy stuff all the time. We all text each other crazy, and it sucks that that's going to be used like against him. But it's like at the bottom line is saying crazy things in text messages is not the same thing as actually physically harming somebody. So that's like the bottom line here, and that's why I hope the jury sees. I hope the jury sees that like Johnny Depp have pictures of bruises, like literally pictures. And you just have text messages like of him being angry and videos of him throwing glasses and stuff like at the wall, not at you, or just banging stuff like banging cabinets, or him moaning on a plane because he's taking drugs. Like he's a drug addict. That being a drug addict and alcohol abuser or alcoholic doesn't make you a physical abuser or domestic violence suspect or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the last thing, real quick, too, they used, I guess Thursday or Friday, they showed that the makeup palette that she said that she had in her purse at all times to cover bruises.
Yeah,
and apparently the company came out and said that that palette wasn't even out yet.
Mm-hmm.
So that was interesting.
Yeah. If you're gonna lie, make sure your lie is put together.
Yeah.
And that's also perjury, by the way.
Really? Wow. And Milani might be like, Sue, could have like, cause why are we in it?
Yeah, you can't lie in court, and that's clearly a lie.
Yeah.
So
I wonder if that's
technically
gonna-
perjury.
I wonder if that's gonna come up next week because, like, every day and even before breaks, the judge says don't talk to nobody about the case, don't do research. So technically, if that was admissible, it might. I mean, they could lie and be like, we just researched ourselves and so that didn't come out. They might have seen the TikTok, but they can't say they seen it on TikTok. They would just say they could just say that they did their research and saw that the palette wasn't out. So I would hope somehow maybe that got in their ear and they bring that up.
Probably. If they were smart, they would find a legal way around it. But if not, then that
Then
is
they
like
get in trouble.
horrible.
And it actually could compromise the case.
The whole
sometimes
case.
if you prove that you got outside influence.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see. Hopefully, it's wrapped up soon. So
Yeah.
they could just move forward.
Yeah.